Having one more marshmallow.
We're live! Yay! This is the live show for Woman in the Window, which is our Biblio Book Club pick for
I know.
Oh God.
February through May. February through April.
April. It seems like forever.
Oh my goodness, we're already 1 month into May.
I know.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I read it like the first month in February.
You need to get better at not doing that.
I know. Well, this time everyone's like, read the next book, read the next book. And I'm like, not yet.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, so this is the live show for the Biblio Book Club, February through April, A Woman in the Window, which do either of you have it? Because I don't own it, so I can't.
My sister's borrowing my copy at the moment.
Okay, so we don't have it to show you, but yeah. It's the one with the blue, and it has, like, blinds on it.
And the red.
It's on our Instagram.
Yes. And our next Biblio Book Club is going to be from May through July. So you have like 2.5 months still to read it before we will start talking about a live show for that. And it is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. And it's so pretty. The cover is gorgeous.
I got it in ebook, but I'm like, it's so expensive here in Canada right now. And I'm like, but it's so pretty.
I know, it is really pretty. I'm also jealous because Dylan from Dylan the Reader got the pin that came with it, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm jealous. That's what I meant. Okay, so Woman in the Window. How did you guys like it? We're gonna do non-spoilers for now, so everyone is safe. If you haven't read it yet, we will warn before we go into spoilers. I'm going to pull up my Goodreads thing real quick. While we're here, we are looking at the YouTube like chat thing. Proud Book Lion says hello.
Oh, I gotta go on right now.
LUT said hello. So if you have any questions for us, you can always ask us there or on Twitter at Bibliothon is the Bibliothon Twitter.
I'm going to announce we're live on Twitter. I don't know if we did yet.
I tweeted out that we were about to, but I didn't put the current one. Okay, I'm pulling up my Woman in the Window thing. I was not prepared for this.
I know.
Before we get started, does anyone want to mention what they're drinking or eating during the live show?
Sure. Me and Cassie were laughing so hard about this.
Why are you laughing?
Because usually me and Brittany are drinkers, and we drink alcohol during these things. But today I'm drinking a fruit and veggie juice thing in my Hamilton cup because I went and saw Hamilton yesterday. And Brittany is drinking.
Okay, Cassie doesn't know what this is, and that's why. I'm drinking kombucha, so please tell me if you know what kombucha is.
Oh, I've heard of kombucha before.
Yeah, so I was explaining it to Cassie. I'm like, well, I'm pretty much drinking gut bacteria. But if you like kombucha, tell Cassie in the comments. But that's what I'm having. And Emma, what are you having?
I'm having Capriccio bubbly sangria because I saw this viral online, and one of my friends from high school was posting on Instagram that she called 12 different liquor stores to find this, and I was like, "Where did you get that?"
Yeah, well, it is 3:00 for me and Cassie, and 6 for you.
It's 6:00 for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be drinking.
I know,
although I'm hungover. So.
That's so funny.
Okay, so I gave A Woman in the Window a 4 out of 5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and so my feelings about it until a certain moment that happens pretty late in the book were very iffy because it sounds a lot like this movie by Alfred Hitchcock called Rear Window, which is amazing. Everyone should go and watch it. And it was made in the 50s. And in the book, the main character likes Alfred Hitchcock, so she's always talking about Alfred Hitchcock movies, but she never mentions Rear Window until way later in the book. And so the whole time I'm reading it or listening to it, and I'm like, you need to mention the fact that this whole thing is basically Rear Window. When is that going to happen? So it's very distracting for me that it took so long to get there. But then once it happened, I was like, oh, that was perfect. The way that they did that was amazing. So
Rear Window was the inspiration for the story. The author admitted that he took inspiration from it.
Because you went to
I listened to the author's note afterwards too.
I loved him so much.
Because you met him, right? You went to the...
I did. He's so wonderful. And he's so gorgeous in person. Oh my goodness.
Weren't you like the youngest one too?
Yeah, I was for sure the youngest person at that signing. It was my first adult signing ever. And I was like, I know why I stick to YA signings, because I feel like my intelligence is being questioned by everyone around me. But I loved The Woman in the Window. I think I actually gave it 4.5 stars. Like sometimes I give a book like a lower rating, but like in my head, I'm like, oh, I gave it 5 stars because it's amazing. So I gave it either 4.5 or 5 stars. I loved it. I was like so blown away. It's one of my favorite mystery thrillers that I've ever, or psychological thrillers that I've ever read. And I will read anything by AJ Finn because I'm so obsessed with his debut.
Nice.
Aww, I love it. So first off, I read this in February, as I mentioned before. So I'm trying to remember, so I'm letting them go first to like restart what went on. But I do remember my reading experience with it because I did a vlog for it. So that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was when I was trapped in the winter or something like that. It's not reading a vlog like that. So I remember the experience. And I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. Which isn't like a bad rating. Like for me, like I'm a little bit more critical with my rating, I think, than I guess a lot of people, not really, but so a 3 for me is just like it was okay. Like it was really enjoyable, but it was okay. I found myself actually, a lot of people said that the beginning was really boring and slow, but for some reason I was really intrigued by the way the writing was in the beginning. I don't know why, even though it dragged on for so long, I really enjoyed that. But it was the end for me that I just wasn't like blown away for some reason. And I'll get into that in non-spoiler, but I was just like, it was okay. So I ended up rating it a 3 stars. For me, it's like weirdly backwards for me.
Yeah, because my reasoning for bringing it down to 4 was the opposite. It was because the beginning was slow. Like it took so long for us to get to a moment of like finally feeling like it was a psychological thriller and not just like a contemporary. I mean, there was some intriguing things in the beginning too, because you are trying to find out like why she has agoraphobia, like because she mentions that something happened, but she never goes into detail until far later in the book. And so that was definitely intriguing for me, but also it was like, can we get to something yet? Like, when are we going to start going?
I like that part of it. Like, I love like being like something. I think that's the thing. I was like expecting like something so much because I was like, there's something building like so intensely here, and like, when's it going to happen? And then I was just kind of like, oh.
Yeah. I also felt that the beginning was like really slow, but definitely like you said, Brittany, like there was something about his writing style that like I wasn't bored and I didn't feel like it was dragging. Like even though really like nothing much was happening for that beginning part of the story, like I still wanted to read because I was so intoxicated by his writing style.
It was like like oddly addicting. Like I remember the other Bibliothon crew was like, I don't know if I'll have time for it, and I just kept saying like, even though it looks so big, it reads so quickly.
Yeah
You know,
and I listening to it on 1.5 or whatever speed obviously sped it up, but on top of that, it didn't feel like it was a long book. I just knew it was because it was taking so long to get through it, but like it didn't
and
feel
there's like 109 chapters in it or something. There's
really?
Yeah, I remember listening to the audiobook and being on like chapter 99 and I'm like, what the heck? Like there's a lot of chapters and I think it might even be more than 109.
Well, this actually reminds me too, actually, because I actually didn't listen to an audio. I read it on my ebook. And so I can't really see when the ending is, and I just remember, can you hear my echo?
A little bit.
Just a little, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's not overwhelming.
It's faint. Okay, it's not just me. But yeah, so I remember reading the ebook and being like, this reads super, super quickly. But I want to mention, I didn't listen to the audio. I did the ebook. And I know Cassie did audio. What did you do?
I did audio as well. The narrator was so good. I loved the audiobook.
Yes. I'm looking back, and I read this book in 7 days, which is pretty fast.
Wow. Yeah,
and
that's
it's being pretty long too.
Interesting. So I wonder if like the audiobook would have done differently because I rated it 3 and you guys rated it higher.
Mm-hmm.
But I just read it on ebook. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that made it different.
Yeah. I think it was definitely like the type of audiobook where like the narrator really adds to the story.
Mm-hmm.
The narrator was just like so good in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
And if for anyone doing the comments, did you guys do audio or physical, or what did you guys do?
We want to know.
We want to know stuff.
Are we ready to jump into
Spoilers?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay. I don't think we have any questions yet, but I wanted to know, like, one of the things that I felt in this story was that, like, every time something, like, some new information was revealed, like, I was convinced that that was the answer.
Yes.
Like, when you know, what was I going to say? When the like real wife comes in, I'm like, oh my god, like he like hired her to like cover her up. Like this isn't actually
That's what
his
I thought.
And so then like later, like, oh my god, like maybe she just like imagined it. Like every single time new info was revealed, like I was so convinced. So I was wondering if there were any plot twists that like really caught you off guard, because I feel like this book is so full of them.
So for me, the one that was the most like, what the fuck? In like a good way was the new wife showing up. And I was like, wait, what? Like, who is the other person then? What is happening? Yeah, and I had so many different theories on who she was, like her being hired or like whatever. And I don't think I ever thought what it ended up being with the original girl that she meets. You know, not being
his like biological mom,
but
like the mom that he lives with. Yeah,
I never expected that. The one that I was never concerned, I like knew this would be not be true, was when they did the Rear Window giving, and they say, oh, and she's talking in her head, and she goes, I reimagined myself in Rear Window. And then she describes the plot of Rear Window. And I was like, first of all, thank you. Finally, this was perfect. but also I was like, there's no way that that's what the answer is. There's no way that we're going to get this answer so before the ending of the book. Like I knew I was only like 70 done with the story. And I was, she didn't only imagine everything. I know this isn't true. So that was the only one that I was like, no.
Yeah, the one that really threw me for a loop was definitely like the mother coming over, and I was like, who is she? Because I remember so distinctly when she like follows her into the cafe and the barista asks for her name, and she like pauses and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna say her real name, because like, you know, she's like not gonna pretend, and she pauses right before she says it, and she looks in the mirror and sees her, and then she says like Jane. I was like, oh my god, that's not her real name. She's only saying it. So like the mom really threw me for a loop. And I think the one that like I was like, this can't be true, was when like she finds a picture of her like sleeping, and like she tries to convince herself that like she did it herself. Like the cops are like, oh, like you're just doing this for attention. She's like, did I really do that? How could I have done that? And then I was like, there's no way that this isn't like, there's no way that she wasn't really murdered. And like, I knew for a fact that like it had nothing to do with Anna doing it herself.
Yeah, I was the same. I had the same experience as you, Emma, but like it was like almost like I predicted something. I was like, this is exactly what the ending's going to be like, and then he would confirm it in like the next chapter or something.
Yeah,
and then I'd be like, see, and then I'm like, but wait, we're only on like chapter like 17. Damn it! And then it would like come up with like another thing, and then he would confirm it, and it was like this constant like confirming, and I was like, ah. So that was, I had that same kind of like reading experience.
Yeah,
but I can't remember like all the things, but one thing that I knew, the same thing, I didn't think it was Anna at all. Like that, I was like, no. And then the guy, her roommate in the basement, I was like, he was trying to build it up like it was his fault, like he did something.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no.
No.
Yeah, no, it's not him. And then, but I am curious. Like I was actually I didn't expect was it like the car accident and then
that threw me for a loop.
I knew that they were going to be
I knew you did that. Is that because it's Rear Window?
No, it's not. I just had a feeling that they were dead because she never actually went anywhere. Not went anywhere, but it never felt like I don't think the daughter ever is at her house. Like, she never stays the night.
Yeah.
There's like
Right.
she talks on the phone with her and stuff like that. And I was like, there is no way she would just be fine with not ever seeing her daughter in person. It's not a thing that she would be fine with. And I think that they're dead. And I didn't know if it was both of them or if it was the daughter or like what, but I had a feeling that someone was a hallucination.
Yeah. I had that experience where it's like when you're reading like a book like this, like a thriller, and something's revealed and you're like, I didn't see that coming, but I should have. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things that I'm like, that, like, I feel like I should have picked up on the fact that they were dead because it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I had, like, it threw me for a loop, and I really actually enjoyed that scene a lot, and I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. But obviously, like, I don't know if we're talking about the ending at all, like, I didn't see it coming. The end. This is like kind of my own thoughts on this, but like I didn't see like the end coming at all. But like I still kind of felt like it was a letdown for me.
Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting ending.
Just based off of all the things that it could have been, and then he kept confirming and could have been and I think it was just such as like so exciting, and then like and I think that's where I kind of got.
Do you mean her family being dead, or do you mean the son being the one that did it? Oh, okay.
Son.
Yeah. I thought that was one of the things that I didn't see coming for sure. I did not think that Ethan was going to be the one involved. That was a really nice twist.
Yeah, I thought I liked the twist, but I just like I didn't love that twist as much as I loved other twists in the story.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Like it was so unexpected. But I was just like, it felt a little Criminal Mind-esque for me. Like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that there were like other points of the story that were much stronger, but I also like did not expect it, and I thought it was satisfying enough.
Yeah, I actually really liked when we thought that it was going to be Jane that killed the first Jane. I liked that, I think, the best out of all the ones we got at the end, like the very end. Because I was excited that it wasn't the dad, even though Alistair is, like, pretty freaking creepy.
Yeah.
But I was like, how original of you to make the dad the killer.
Yeah.
And so I was glad it wasn't him, but then, like, to have it be Ethan, I was like, oh, I kind of liked the Jane version more, but it still was good, and I didn't see it coming, so that was nice.
We have a question in the chat from Proud Bookline. Did you trust the chat forum Agora? Oh, because I know I was so fucking proud of myself because as soon as that granny character was introduced, I was like, this is the killer. There's no way.
I
really not the killer. Yeah, I knew like right from the beginning that I was like, there's no way that this person, like, why would this be included if this person wasn't significant?
Right.
I was so proud of myself.
So that one surprised me because I had a feeling that the family was dead. I thought that the Agora chat room was going to be giving us more information about that. Like,
oh, okay.
I didn't see that as being connected to the actual murder mystery in the story. I thought it was more connected to the family mystery. Like,
because that's where like we get the most of the information of it is when she's like telling whatever, Granny whatever.
And there's something that she does, Granny Lizzie. There's something that she tells Granny Lizzie like pretty early on. And then Granny Lizzie disappears for a while. And I don't remember what it was. I think that might have been when she first says something about how she got hurt. But she doesn't mention that anyone else was hurt or something. And I was like, everyone else is dead. I'm right. I know this. It was like my first moment of confirmation where I'm like, I think that I know.
So I'm just trying to remember the chat. So was it Ethan doing the chat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I was like, wait. Oh, it's so sad, though, because, like, I really wish that was an actual Granny. She was so cute.
Yeah.
I know, I was sad that she wasn't real. Because I was like, oh, a real friend.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So I have a question for you, Cassie.
Yeah.
So what is like the story of the Rear Window, like it connected to this.
I don't know what Rear Window is either.
Because you're like, I knew it. I'm like, I don't know.
Rear Window is really good, so I don't want to spoil like the end. But it's a Alfred Hitchcock movie, which if you've never seen an Alfred Hitchcock movie, he's basically like he was very like he did a lot of new things in the 50s with direction. And so like all of his films are fantastic. So watch them all. But this movie takes place in the 50s in New York or LA. New York, I think. And it's this dude who I want to say is a reporter or something. He breaks his leg at work. He has a full leg cast and he can't leave his apartment because he lives on the 3rd floor. And so he can't get down by himself. And so the only person who comes into his apartment on a daily basis is the nurse who's like helping take care of him or whatever. So she comes for like a couple hours a day. And then he has a girlfriend who comes over too, and she's gorgeous. She was really famous in the 50s and I can't remember her name. So he spends his days watching the like neighbor. He lives like it's set up where there's like a quad outside of his apartment. So he can see the back windows of this space, the windows of this space, and the windows of this space. And so he just spends his time watching all of these random people. There's like a cranky old lady, and there's a ballerina, and there's like all these random people. And then there's this guy who lives right across with his wife, and he watches them every day, and they don't really talk to each other, and blah, blah, blah. And then one day he watches what he believes is the husband taking this briefcase that has the body parts of his wife out. That's what he thinks is happening. But you don't ever actually see anything to make you think that, except for like, I think he hits the wife or something. But then everything else is like hidden in behind doors and stuff. So he's just like half making it up in his head and all this stuff. He can't leave his apartment. So the girlfriend and the nurse like help and all this stuff. It's so good. Like I'm not giving you like a full.
Yeah, because it's a thriller.
But it's basically the same exact story where she's watching this thing that she thinks she saw something, but she only saw like a glimpse out of the whole story. So then when you start finding out that maybe it wasn't Alistair, maybe it was Jane, maybe it wasn't really Jane, maybe it was Ethan, it all could have happened because she didn't actually see who did it or what happened.
Right.
All she saw was that one, the knife or whatever in the girl.
That's crazy. Yeah, now I'm going to have to watch it. And like,
I really want to watch it.
And it's really cool because it all takes place in his apartment / in the quad.
Right.
Like, that's one thing that EJ mentioned when I was at the signing is that like the decision that Anna would be agoraphobic is because he wanted it to take place in like a small location area. Like he didn't want it to be like across a whole city. Like he wanted it to like just take place in the apartment. So that's interesting that like
they did it with a broken leg. I know. I thought that was a really smart choice for the author to do like for a modern day version of this story. I was like, oh, that's. But why is she agoraphobic? Because her family's dead. I'm just so proud of myself for knowing.
Like me with the Granny Lizzie. I like being able to read and like feeling proud of yourself for figuring it out.
And I think like that was like my favorite part too. I like not knowing that, and I think the reason like I just was so like disappointed is because usually the end has like that oomph factor, but I was like it was just so much better throughout than it was in the end. And I think it like completely threw me off, but I still like really enjoyed like working up to that point.
You want to know the one thing that I like completely forgot about in the story? The picture with the signature.
Dude!
Oh, I forgot completely about the picture that his birth mother had signed.
Like, wait, can you retell me what that part was?
The birth mother Jane drew a picture of Anna and then signed it, as an artist.
And that was the first night that was the first night that like she came over and like they drank wine and stuff. And that was the night that Alistair came over and was like, is anyone at your house? And then she like put it away in a drawer. and like it was not mentioned until like nearing the end of the story. And when that came, I was like, oh my God, like mind blown. I was so shocked.
I kept waiting for that to show up because
Cassie, you're so good.
I'm sorry. I kept waiting for it to show up, but I couldn't remember what the picture was of. I was like, I know that there's a picture, but did Anna draw the picture or did Jane draw the picture? I couldn't remember to save my life the whole time, but I was waiting anxiously for it to come back in to play, and then finally it does, and I was like, oh, dang it proves nothing.
Right.
So I'm curious, like, did you guys have like one or like a most prominent theory as to like what actually happened? Like, did you have like one suspect that you were like, it was definitely the mother, it was definitely Alistair? Like, is there anything that like you guys like lean towards the most in terms of the resolution?
I had two. When new Jane shows up, I was convinced that it was Alistair and that Alistair hired her to be fake Jane, to be fake wife for the cops, etc.
Yeah, that's the one that I was the most convinced about. I thought it was Alistair.
Yeah, and that he just killed his wife in a fit of passion or whatever, because obviously men do that all the time. Depressing.
Yeah. I had the same thought, but I never thought about it as hiring her. I just, for some reason, it was him. And I think a lot of it had to do with Ethan being so scared of him that, like, it was just who he was as a person, and, like, instoke, like, fear on Ethan because he's, like, seeing his mom get, like, beat up and, like, all this stuff, and he was just so scared of it. I was like...
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, that just seems so...
traditional.
Yeah, but like I was like, it has to be him or her, but it has to be something like unique, but I don't know what that is. So I never clicked like the hiring though. That would have made a lot of sense.
Once we like confirmed that new Jane was actually the wife, then I thought that it was Jane who killed the random girl, and the random girl was a girlfriend, like Alistair was cheating.
Yeah, like a mystery.
Yes, I thought that too. Yeah. I had so many things that I thought it was throughout the whole, and it's so long ago, I'm trying to like remember. And then like there was the cops. I didn't think anything with them, but they were pissing me off the whole time.
Oh my God, I hated the girl cop.
Yeah, and I was like, you're just like calling her crazy, and it's making me mad because you're supposed to help her, and like,
Yep. Yeah. I always hate cops in every single adult psychological thriller. They are always so unhelpful, and they never provide any sort of like the main character. I think Brand from Brand in the Book Addict calls like this genre of psychological thrillers like urban thrillers, because it follows like there's like investigative thrillers where it follows like a detective, and then there's urban thrillers that follow like regular people. Like Anna was just a regular person. And like in urban thrillers, the police are always so unhelpful, and the main character has to do everything themselves, and it's so annoying.
It's like about that. If the main character is a reporter or like not a police officer but still in the like career of being involved with cop type things, would that be an urban thriller or a detective?
I'm not sure. I feel like that, like with like journalists and stuff, it's like sort of in the middle, because like they do have like investigative, like like they've done stuff like that before, like reporting on a story and looking for clues and stuff. Whereas like following like Anna has like no experience with that. So maybe it's like sort of in the middle.
Yeah, or maybe it's all its own subject. Yeah. I was thinking of Night Film in my head.
Oh, I want to read that book.
Or what have you.
I'm going to read Night Film.
Okay, I had a question because we did talk about the cops a little bit, but were they anything that you, like, did they just seem like a nuisance to you, or did they seem like they could be
part of
more important to whatever the story was? Like, how did you guys feel about them in more detail, I guess?
For a time, I like toyed with the idea that maybe they were like being paid off to to brush it under the rug, or to like maybe frame Anna or something. Like I thought that it was possible that they might have been involved as well, just because like they were just so unhelpful that I was like, this can't just be because they're all dumb. Like there has to be some ulterior motive there. But I think all around I was just like, y'all are so annoying. Except for there was like one that was nice to her.
Yeah, the
guy.
Yeah. Although he just thought she was crazy too.
Yeah. He wasn't like.
I think he wanted to believe her, but he couldn't put any logic behind it, so he just couldn't put the pieces together. So he's like, "No, you're just crazy." But you know what? My experience reminded me of was. Have you guys seen the new series of Unfortunate Events on Netflix?
I've only watched like one.
I didn't finish it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you watch it, it's like what I felt like. If anyone's like watching this and has watched the series, you know what I mean. But like the cops are just like so unhelpful, and you always feel like they're gonna help, and at the end, and then they're just so dumb, and you're just like, ugh, and you want to like go through the screen and like shake their face, like shake their head, not face, just shake their face. That's what I felt like, and I think I was so distracted by that I never even thought anything of it. Like I felt like the guy cop was eventually going to come through. Like I don't remember if he did or not. I don't think he did, like in any helpful way that I remember.
Yeah, they were really not that helpful.
Yeah, and then I was like, what is the point to this? And I never even thought about it like you did, Emma, but that makes so much sense on why you thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I want to talk about the mental health.
I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
And like the portrayal of the different mental are they both mental illnesses? Would it be
What?
Well, hers is agoraphobia.
And
then Ethan
would
be I assume would be sociopathy.
I can't remember if it was sociopathy or psychopathy.
Proud book line.
I don't remember. So yeah, what did you think, Cassie?
Well, so I was really nervous that they were going to like make it so that I like the fear that I had was that she was going to overcome her agoraphobia in order to save Ethan or to save
no, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was really concerned, and we got really close to doing it, but then it kept going. So like I don't know. I don't know enough about agoraphobia either to like have a true opinion on it, but I was nervous. And then as far as Ethan goes, it was just very stereotypical, but I do enjoy a good sociopath, but like it's been done many times. So
yeah, I feel the same about Ethan. I thought it was also like fairly stereotypical, and because he like only mentions his like personality disorder like with that much left in the book, like there wasn't really time for like to develop on that because we know it, and then the book basically ends. So I think it was more about making the connections to like him lying and like all of the shady stuff he was doing throughout the book. But I also feel it was like pretty stereotypical. I was really satisfied with Anna's agoraphobia because I know that the author did a lot of research, like because he has bipolar disorder, and he actually like spoke to people with agoraphobia, and I'm pretty sure he used a forum like Agora to do so, which is why it was included in the book. Nice. But yeah, like I really liked how like, you know, like she would use the umbrella to like protect her from the outside world. Like I thought that was a really authentic thing to include, like how in like Finding Audrey, like she has social anxiety and she wears glasses to help stop her from making eye contact, or in Made You Up, she has the magic 8-ball to help her distinguish between like what's real and what's not real. So I think it was well developed and well rounded, and it was like present throughout the entire story, and all of the descriptions of like when she was outside and how detrimental that was to her. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, the only time that I felt like it was almost like just not quite enough for me was from the moment. So she's in the hospital, they take her to the hospital, and then there's the scene after that where I think she's on her way home. That was fine for me. But then there's another scene where she gets in the car with the cop. Isn't there at least 2?
Well, didn't she run to the
think it was
coffee
2.
shop? Was that the umbrella part where she runs to the coffee
Yeah,
shop?
that's with the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that one, the second car scene with the cop, and I was like, I don't know. It just didn't. It felt like it was needed to get to the story for her to go into the cop car, but it didn't feel like she was scared enough. But then, like, there's all this other stuff going on, so maybe she was able to, like, unfocus on that. I don't know. Because, again, I don't know a lot about agoraphobia, so I don't know, like, what kind of distractions you can have to make it easier or whatever. But, yeah, I was interested because I know that you know a lot of things about a lot of
it. Because I'm like, I don't really know that much either. But because you mentioned the umbrella, Emma, I don't know if you guys saw, but Proud Bookline actually had a question on that before you mentioned it.
Oh, yeah.
And so she said, while she uses the umbrella enable her to push the limits and do things she didn't think she could manage, what items would you choose, or do already have an item? Or do you, I think she meant, already have an item?
To help push your limits?
Can
I say, like, this is probably weird. Like cards.
Like playing cards?
Like angel cards and tarot cards and
that's cool.
Because that's how I do now. So I don't really talk about this too much, but I started to get like agoraphobia kind of stuff when I first moved here. My new place. I'm not going to go into it, but I had that like mindset. I was so scared to like leave and stuff, and that was actually like one of the things that I had to do was really learn about certain like inner guides and things like that. And then so I started using like cards and tarot cards and things like that, and actually helped me personally to not get to that place. So that's actually, I still use it to today.
Oh,
so
that's really great, Brittany. I'm glad.
Thanks. And now I'm a free bird.
That's great. I'm so glad.
Yeah, so that's what I would use.
I don't know.
It's a hard question.
I have like certain outfits or like certain just like clothing pieces that when I'm wearing them, I'm more confident in that particular piece. So then that makes me like not makes me able, but then I'm, confidence instills more confidence, and then you can like do more things and whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
I like that.
Those words that I need to say.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I get that.
So I have like, I know I like my that white jacket. I wear it all the time in my YouTube videos because I really like it. And then I have
to go back and look at your videos.
It's a white jacket with gold zippers on
it. I know which one now, and every time you're gonna do it going forward, I'm gonna be like, comment white jacket.
Yeah,
white jacket.
I really need to get it bleached because it's like old enough that has some, like browning. I'm like, so it needs to be very white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that.
I don't know if I have one. Like, I feel like it's so stereotypical to say like a book.
No.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah, I'm like.
I like
that. Or actually, wait, let me try to guess. Would it be City of Heavenly Fire or would it be City of Bones?
My favorite book is City of Lost Souls.
I was going to say that was her favorite book.
I feel like City of Bones, like with it being the first book in a series, like is also like a perfectly valid first answer. Like, it's like my like protector. Like, I feel like I would think of City of Bones before City of Lost Souls, even though I prefer City of Lost Souls because it's like City of Bones.
City of Lost Souls is number 5. Okay.
So I have a question on that, Cassie. What book would you choose?
For pushing me to my limits. Or like for being like
more comfortable and like kind of distract you from what's going
on. Well, like obviously any of the Harry Potter.
I knew it.
But I would also pick The Host. By Stephanie Meyer.
Really? I haven't read that.
Oh. What?
No, I haven't either.
What?
I haven't. I just never got to it.
Make that a sassy book club pick, and then I'm gonna force everyone to read it.
I do want to read it. I do.
It's my favorite standalone to this day.
I own it.
Oh my goodness.
Part of me wishes it would get, a sequel, but then part of me is like, no, don't touch that.
Yeah. I get that.
Don't mess with it. We did have a question about Tony. What did you think about Tony, the guy who lives downstairs?
I thought it was so weird when they had sex.
Oh,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Her daughter's bed.
Her dead daughter's bed.
Oh,
I knew she was dead, and it freaked me out even more. And then she like lays. Okay, this is one of the parts that did make me think that, oh, I know I'm right about this dead daughter thing, because she like goes and like hugs stuff in the bed. Like she like lays down and cuddles in it, and I was like, that's freaking weird that you're hugging your daughter's stuff, that you were in there in the first place. It's weird. Get out of it. Stop hugging her stuff. And
I thought it was just that she missed her because like she wasn't living with her anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so gullible. Oh my God.
I was the same, Emma, like the exact same. But the thing is, I really liked him. I don't know why, like when they kept like, I had the thought, well, maybe it's him. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I think he like was like a breath of fresh air in her life, like to just have someone in the house in a way, not like a breath, that's probably the wrong way of putting it, but I don't know, I kind of liked him as a character.
Initially I liked him, but as the story went on, I thought he got weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
And so I was like, is he involved in this? Did he kill fake Jane? What happened? See,
everyone, you keep thinking that the whole way through. But for him, I was like, it can't be him. But like, I had that thought too. Like, I just think every time someone was introduced, I'm like, he did it. She did it. He did it.
I don't know if I ever actually thought he killed her, but I did think that he was involved. Like, I thought that maybe it was Alistair's mistress, but it was also his girlfriend or something like that. Like, I just thought that he was more involved.
And like letting them in the house and stuff. Yeah, like, you're like how did you get in?
Paid to do that or something. Like that he had taken some shady money to get in, to let somebody into the house or something.
And that's why I kind of thought it was him at first too, because she's like, how is someone getting in my house and taking pictures of me while I'm sleeping? And things like that. And I was like, well, the only person that can really do that is either herself for some reason, which they tried to make it seem like, or the guy in the basement. And so I was like thinking like maybe something with that, but then it ended up being Ethan anyways, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he stole the key and then put it back.
Right. So,
I totally agree.
Which was also, in my opinion, a little bit too easy.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Made me squinty-eyed a little bit.
I'm trying to, like, it's so hard without remembering. Has AJ Finn written anything else, or is this it right now?
This was his debut. He's been working in publishing for like ever, so he's like written other stuff, but this was like his first novel. But like honestly, like what a successful freaking first novel. It's like it sold so many copies. It's like apparently like the best-selling book of the year.
That's crazy.
It already has a movie deal with like that super famous actress.
Who? Charlize Theron?
No, what's her name?
It seems like she would be. No, oh, I know, Amy Adams.
Yep, that's the one.
She'd be perfect.
She's also playing the main character in the Sharp Objects movie or miniseries.
Oh, is she?
Too.
Oh, really?
Amy Adams is amazing.
I think she would make a perfect Anna. Like perfect.
Yeah, that's who is playing it. And then right now he's working on his second book. That's another like urban thriller, and it's set in San Francisco.
Ooh. Does he live in New York?
I think he lives in Chelsea right now, like in New York City, because he's actually from Long Island, like me. He's from like not that far from me, and then he lives like he's such an interesting life. He lived in like France, and he lived in England, and he worked in the English publishing, and now he's back in New York as like a full-time writer. Nice. He's fascinating. I want to be his best friend, honestly. He's so interesting.
Is he like really funny and like what makes him so cool?
He's so charismatic. Like everything he says is hysterical, and he just has like what's the word I'm looking for? Like he has like a way with words when he speaks, just like he does when he writes. Like I really loved his writing style, and he speaks very similarly to the way that he writes, which is like very elaborate and descriptive, and like he's like a really good storyteller.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love him.
I love that you get to go to like so many events. Like we never have any around here.
I know. I feel so lucky. I wish you guys could all come with me.
I do too. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. What did you think about Anna's drinking from Proud Book Client?
If I'm honest, I'm kind of over the whole trope of like the lead character in a thriller being an addict, which is like at this point, I feel like sometimes it just sort of teeters the line of like this is a plot device to make them an unreliable character. Mm-hmm. I think out of all of the ones I've read like that, this one was my favorite because I felt like Anna had some sort of self-awareness that like, she understood that like, it's like in the way that she was telling us about like her drinking and her substance use, like she understood that like she was doing things she wasn't supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that fact, but I'm just like, we get it. We can't trust her because she's an alcoholic. Like, it's an overused trope, in my opinion, in thrillers.
Her alcoholism was also part of why I thought her family was dead.
Cassie's just going to keep coming back to it.
So, I don't know. It was just, it was one of those things where I was like, the agoraphobia makes sense for her getting into some sort of accident before we even, like, know what's happened. I'm like, okay, people with agoraphobia tend to have some sort of like catalyst moment outside. Makes sense. I'm like, but this drinking thing means she wants to not remember something, and I think it has to do with her family being dead.
So Emma, I don't know how we didn't catch on to this because clearly
I know, right? Cassie saw all the signs.
Like I don't even know. It could have easily not been that, you know? It could have been easily me.
But I think you just had it in your mind the whole time that like because you had it on so early on, like it was like in your mind that all the signs were connected. Because I think now when me and Emma, like if we were to go back and reread the book, it's like you just know already, so then you can connect so many things.
Right.
But you've just done it while you were like reading it. So now I think I've never reread a book in my life, but I think it'd be really cool to reread.
Hold on. What?
No. I always want to, and I always think about it, and then I never do. I really want to reread The Throne of Glass, of course, as I've been craving, but I've never reread anything. It just, I'm like, there's so many other books. But I feel like a thriller would be really cool to reread because you can go back and like be like, oh my God, that was so easy. Oh my God, like that's why.
My favorite book to, I didn't actually reread it, but I watched the movie first and then I read the book, and it was Fight Club.
Oh, I haven't read that.
Have you read or watched it?
No.
I've done both.
Okay.
So I have to?
For those of you who haven't, like, just pick one, because I think that it's a good adaptation. So if you don't want to spend the time reading the book, then you can watch the movie. But like, it's an unreliable story, basically. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what's real and what's not.
And I love that kind of stuff. Like, I freaking love that stuff. There's another, like, because like, this is a good question. Like, do you, like, what is the best thriller you've ever read? And I know Emma's read a lot.
The one with window is my favorite. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This one?
It's my favorite. Yeah. I was like so taken with this story. That's my favorite.
Okay,
I think Dark Places is a close second.
That's my favorite. Dark Places.
It's really good.
I haven't read Dark Places.
It's my favorite Gillian Flynn book.
I haven't read
Gone Girl.
Oh, it's so much better than Gone Girl.
Yeah, I think it's better than
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see.
There's a controversy over all of her books. Like everyone has a different favorite. Like Dark Place is my favorite, and Sharp Objects is my least favorite. And people are like, Sharp Objects is my favorite, and Dark Place is my least favorite.
I have never read Sharp Objects yet, but I own it. But I have read the other two. But I heard that from you, I think, actually, and I was like, oh, now I don't want to read Sharp Objects.
But like, so many people love it that it's like you very well might really enjoy it. Like I just can't tell with people because sometimes people like really, really love one of her books and hate it.
I haven't read many thrillers because I'm such a wimp, but that would probably be my favorite. And I really like The Diviners, even though it's not really a. Well, I guess it's fine.
So good.
Okay, did you find one, Cassie?
I picked 3. They're not like all. I don't even know if. I don't know if they're all technically thrillers. But the first one that I would pick is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Because this book...
I haven't read that.
I mean, like, is it a mystery or is it a thriller?
It's it's tough because it's also like, is it a contemporary? But it's so psychologically twisting. That's like an integral part of the story that like you can't take that away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I have to read that because you like it.
It's so good. I almost threw this book out of the window of the car while we were moving, going down the 101 home from my grandma's house because I was very upset when I finished it. The next one that I have here is The Lovely Bones. Because this, you already know that the girl was murdered because she's the narrator. Like, the dead girl is the narrator. Which actually, there's another one that's very similar to this called I Stopped Somewhere that just came out recently. Both of these are told from the narration of the person who's dead.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so then you're kind of like going backwards from that. And then the next one that I have is Seas of Snow, and no one has probably ever heard of this.
I've never heard of this.
It's a self-published book that I got sent for review. This takes place there's two timelines. One is 1950s England, and then one is present day, I think.
I like that.
Too. And so I want to read it to you because otherwise I'll accidentally spoil something. 1950s England. 5-year-old Gracie Scott lives with her mom and next door to her best friend Billy, and an only child. She has never known her da. When her Uncle Joe moves in, his physical abuse of Gracie's mother starts almost immediately, but when his attentions wander to Gracie, an even more sinister pattern of behavior begins. And that plot takes place over like years. So you start when she's 5, but like she gets older as time goes on. And then it like fast forwards to present day, which you don't know what year that is. As Gracie grows older, she finds solace and liberation in books, poetry, and her enduring friendship with Billy. Together they escape into the poetic fairy tale worlds of their imaginations. But will fairy tales be enough to save Gracie from Uncle Joe's psychopathic behavior, and how far will it go? So the other plot line, the dual perspective. The one perspective is from Gracie growing up, and the other perspective is of Billy, the friend, present day, going and visiting an old friend in the hospital.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Now I have to get that one. You have to send me that in the chat.
Good.
Yeah.
I thought of another favorite of mine, and it is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter.
I was thinking Tiny Pretty Things. Right.
It's the most gruesome book I have ever read.
This one is too. This one hard, some really hard trigger warnings for like abuse, rape, like anything and everything.
Like, rape, murder, torture, everything. Any form of violence is in that book, but it's like so good. Karen, if you're looking to get into more adult thrillers, like Karen Slaughter is really good.
What was that one? Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter?
Pretty Girls. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Tiny Pretty Things, and I was like,
no, that's a contemporary. Also a fun series, but yeah.
Isn't it a thriller, like a ballerina school? And
it's not really a thriller. It's more like intense drama. Like it's a lot of like sabotaging other girls in the school. So it's not like
I've heard of this.
Yeah,
it's really fun though. Already on my TBR.
It's so good.
All right. So I don't think we have any other questions for. Do we have anything else you want to talk about for the woman in the window that we can? It's been so long.
I mean, we didn't specify talking about the ending, like the main, Ethan in her house. Part.
Okay, the one thing I picked up on the ending is I knew that sunlight would be important in the end too. Like when they focused in the beginning and they were focused on fixing it, it was like, this is so unimportant. And then as like they're getting ready and she's like going up the roof, I'm like, oh my God, the sunroof, he's gonna fall through it.
Yes.
So I'm also proud of myself for that.
Did he die? I forget
too.
Oh, don't ask me. No.
I feel like he died.
I think he died. I think so.
Or did he go to jail?
I love how none of us can remember.
Can someone in the chat remind us what happened?
Christina probably remembers.
Yeah. Tell us all the things. I told two of my friends that we were talking about this because they both read the book. So I'm wondering if they're on. If you guys are on, you should message. So because I had two friends. One of my friends, she actually texted me. She's like, tell them it's shit. And I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, so she didn't like it.
No. But then the other one loved it, like 5 out of 5. So I was like, you should watch her live show. So I don't know if they're on. If you're on, say hi. I don't remember. I read it in January.
Oh my god, how do none of us remember that?
The big, like the ending.
I'm pretty sure he died.
I feel like he did too. I'm gonna Google it.
Didn't he die on the roof and he was like lying there? And then or he fell off the roof? Was that it? And then like was on the ground?
Yeah, I think he fell and died.
Yeah. It's okay. Per Christina, it's okay. I feel like he fell off the ledge, and then she was looking down at him. That could just be any movie, but I'm Googling it.
Click here to read full review. I'm trying to find the answer.
Go all the way to the end.
Yeah. Click here for spoilers. Jesus. What? It just went back to the...
You should... I just Googled, did Ethan die in the end of the woman in the window? Let's see. I'm a computer. And if anyone else knows the answer to this question, while Cassie's looking, Emma, what are you reading right now?
Oh God.
Lots of things.
Yeah, I'm reading 3 books at the moment. I'm reading Anger is a Gift by Marco Shiro, which is so fantastic. It's a contemporary about a Black gay kid whose school is like super run down. They don't have any funding. And it's basically about how like the school puts like a police presence on campus and how that affects the students. And like one of the things Mark says about the book is that like they install metal detectors and it ends up injuring one of the kids. And so like it's all about like validating people's anger at injustices in the world. And it's like a really powerful book. And then I'm listening to Lillian Duncan by Jonna Gephardt, which is it's a middle grade, actually. It's one of the first middle grade books I've ever read. And it follows a trans girl and a bipolar boy who end up going to the same school. And it's super adorable.
Sounds so cute.
Then an ebook, I'm reading Let's Talk About Love by Claire Can, which is about like a biromantic asexual main character. And I'm not loving it as much, but like the asexual rep is like really, really good in my opinion. Like it's a great book about asexuality, but like the writing is not my favorite. What are you reading?
Right now on audio, I'm listening to Kill a Kingdom. I just finished a few days ago God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. So I just finished that in print, and then I'm doing a buddy read with someone starting next week. So I'm just waiting on The Shadow Queen.
I've heard of that one.
We were gonna do Strange the Dreamer, but because I started reading God's Grave, and it took me 3 months to read God's Grave, it was just so dense. I'm like, can we just read something like kind of light and like easy? And so I read that. Yeah, but To Kill a Kingdom right now is like phenomenal. Like it's such a good audiobook. Like the narrator, there's 2 narrators and 2 perspectives. Like fan-freaking-tastic. I just love it so much. God's Grave was everyone knows what God's Grave is. It's so freaking good. So yeah. Cassie?
Right now I'm only reading Children of Blood and Bone. I'm about to finish it though. I'm hoping to finish it today.
Red just rated it 5.
It's the Sassy Book Club of the month, so I have to read it before January 10th. I mean June 10th. And yes, I do. It's one of those, it's like really weird because so I listened and read it, like, I was switching back and forth, which I've never done before, but I was trying to it's technically Scallywag-a-thon just yesterday, so I was like trying to read more books than usual. Did not work. I read 2 books. It was fine. So I was doing both, and like I couldn't decide if I liked the audio or the physical book more because I could read it faster than I could listen to it, and I wanted to gobble up the story. But I really loved the accents, and the narrator is the same woman who did The Hate You Give, which was amazing.
I listened to that, and I loved the audio, so I didn't know it was her.
Yeah,
because I listened to the sample.
African accent, and it was amazing.
Yeah, because I listened to the sample, and I would have never thought it was her.
He did an amazing job with all of the accents. And so I really liked listening to it too, because there's a lot of like spells that are in, I think, in West African like language.
Yeah, Yoruba, I think.
Yeah. And I don't know how to say any of it, so I really liked listening to it. But I just wanted to read it faster. But at the same time, I don't want it to end. So now I'm only like 150 pages away from the end. And I'm like, I'm just going to like put this down and watch Grey's Anatomy because I don't want it to end.
Oh, it's so good. I hope you end up loving the ending.
Read that so
I
bad.
would love it.
Because I know it's a first. So like, I feel like it's going to have a really big cliffhanger and I'm not ready.
No spoilers.
Well, I know Red rated it like 5 stars, and it's so interesting that you say like the language thing too, because in the Tequila Kingdom they have a language called like Siren, which is like the language of the sirens, and like they always speak that language, and like they say it so well, and I was like, God, I would never read it like that.
Yeah, so I know that's one thing that I love about having the audiobooks for things that have either a made-up language or just a language that I don't know how to say, because
it's so cool.
I want to get all those names right and everything too.
Did you find the answer? Oh, what? Sorry?
No, I can't find it.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't find it either. I'm pretty sure he's dead though.
I think so.
I think he died.
Sorry.
Which is kind of sad because like he was just a kid, even though he was real messed up. But like,
yeah, I'm like, he did a lot of bad stuff, so like it's not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? There's no Twitter questions, I assume.
No, I haven't seen anything. I think that we are good to wrap up.
Yeah,
unless we get any last minute.
So we have Undead Girl Gang from May to August?
July.
Okay, so our biannual Bibliothon for the summer is July 14th to July 20th. Live show on the 21st. Emma's not unfortunately with us this round.
I'm still participating though.
Yeah. Oh, yay!
You can do the live show with us too if you want to.
I'm so down.
Yeah.
That's what I did last time. Our group. Oh wait, we haven't announced our group book yet. I can't say it. I almost did.
Watch really soon because we'll be uploading our video challenges, and then you'll find out. Oh wait, will you find out in the video one?
Reading challenges.
I do that.
So you'll have to wait. Sorry, it's not for a while.
Yeah. Actually, but we're posting them both really soon. We're editing the reading and video right now, but because it's in July, I think we're having them post in June. So both will be posted in June, I believe.
And
they're already filmed.
A pre-live show too.
Oh yeah, a pre-live show, and then we'll have what was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, so our live show for Undead Girl Gang will most likely be August, like how we did this time, because the Bibliothon will be in July, and then that would be too much. It always happens.
Yep.
So,
I'm looking at the reading challenges right now, and I really like them.
Oh, they're fun, hey?
I really like them.
Yeah, they're different. There's some of them are kind of different, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm excited for y'all.
Yeah,
I'm excited too.
But yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us for this live show, and we'll see you soon, I guess, for the video challenges, and then reading, and then the pre-live show.
Yes.
So yeah, well, thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.